Hi everyone, this is Lisbeth Stahl, Cottage Caboodle. Welcome, happy Thursday. I hope that everything is going well today and that you're ready to do something a little bit fun. I had something completely different planned and just got to thinking, I'll explain to you in a minute, but just got to thinking we needed something a little bit less, just a little bit less, you know? Sometimes you put too much stuff on yourself. And so I want to give you a tool that can help you minimize that. So I'm going to go over to my page real quick. And let's see if we can get connected. It looks like we're doing good. You guys, this week with technology has been no joke. No joke. So, but I am happy to report that and thankful and happy to report that I have, not only do I have a website now, I have email. Hi, Chris. I have email. Can you believe it? There are several of you who had heard me whining and complaining. We've been switching our website over to one platform. It's been on two. And so not only did we not have a website for a week, we have email now because we lost email in the process. So thank you so much to Parker Stelly, one of my business coaches, who was able to get that up and running for me and made me feel like I wasn't as ridiculous. Well, I was ridiculous, but wasn't as ridiculous as I thought I was because it was a little iffy for him too. So I appreciate that. So thank you, Miss Tracy. I appreciate you sharing me out, friend. So today we're going to paint, you guys. We're going to just paint. And so what happened was with all of this stuff, so I've got my website that was down. It was supposed to take just a little while. It took a week. Then my email for my business was knocked out. My email is a big deal, right? Hi, Sue. Hi, Anita. And so that was kind of heavy on me. And then with, you know, having to think about videos and things, we're going to be fine. But it still is shocking when you hear that the thing that you've been doing along the way isn't the thing that you can do in the future. It causes you to think. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Anita. So it's been a little bit heavy. So I had something totally, completely different planned that was going to be iffy if I could get it finished in 45 minutes. And I thought, no, I want to have something a little bit simpler. This morning having coffee, we have a golden retriever named Gracie, and Miss Tracy, I mean, no disrespect to your daughter, but she's my favorite. That name, I'm glad they share it because two beautiful souls have that name, and I just love that. But every single day, hi, Jean. Hi, Carol. Every day when she wakes up, and I am not kidding, that dog is so excited to face a new day. She is elated, and I'm not exaggerating. She is, it's like you just gave her the biggest treat in the world. And I told my husband today, I said, you know, what's really sad is we don't do anything very special except just be every day, you know? And so I think more people should have that. Should have that feeling, that hopping out of bed feeling like you can just conquer the world and have a great day. And so that's what I'm going to try and do, is turn that whole thing around. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Diana. It's good to see everybody coming in. So I was going to do something that was kind of Easterish. Hi, Barb Schwabel. And I decided, no, we're going to do a little bit of lettering. Oh, we could absolutely learn so much from dogs. And her only time that she panics is if our family unit is separated. She doesn't like either of us to leave the house. She doesn't, you know, all of that. So, you know, but it's true, right? We should not let some of that stuff bother us, you know, as much. I think that we just have to, my dad used to say, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I think that holds true too. You can't try harder than, you know, if they don't want to be nice to you, you got to let them have that and just move on with your life, I think. So that is kind of where we're going today. So I've got a project started. I'm going to turn my camera down. Hello, you guys. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Lori. So I'm going to turn my camera down. I've got a little bit started just because sometimes I need to take a breath, especially with lettering. And so I wanted to have something a little bit lined out, but you'll see that it's very little about lettering. It's a whole lot more about painting. So hello, Cheryl. Now, some people don't like to hand letter, and I get it. Some people say they can't, and I don't get that, because anybody can learn something that they put their mind to. You aren't born with a creative gene. You're not born with an ability to letter, but you are born with an ability to learn. And thank you, Cheryl, for sprinkling. I appreciate you so much. Remember that I do a drawing when I go live, and I will send out happy mail to one of the people who has shared this video out. I appreciate it so much. So, and as my friend Vanessa Calkins was on earlier from Albie Crafty, I stole from her the idea that if we get more than 100 people, I'm going to send out 2 happy mails. So you get a big surprise, not a big surprise, but you get some goodies in the mail that I don't want to set your expectations up way high, but it's fun, right? To get something fun that you weren't expecting. So good morning, good morning. I'm going to turn my camera down, let you know what I've got so far. And here we are down at my board. Now I've prepped this board. This is a 10 by 10 square, and I've prepped it with the Deco Art Chalky Finish paint, just chalk paint. Oops, wrong way. Forgot that I'm upside down for Craft Around the Clock. And it is fun. It is fun. Hi, Pam. Thank you, Janice. So this is the color Vintage, and it's just a real pretty, is it gray, is it green, is it blue? You're not sure, right? And I am going to put Create Sunshine on here because absolutely everybody's got snow. You got the high wind, you got the ugly, messy, yucky weather, and I want to do something positive and fun. I do want to add to the background of this, but as you can see, I've kind of outlined what I want to do in terms of lettering, and I want to get that kind of situated on there a little bit before I go too much further, because I'm going to have to erase some of my pencil lines. And so I'm going to do that. You're going to see that I'm going to go off my plan here, and the reason I put a plan on there is so I can see how it's going to set, but then have a little bit of wiggle room, to get that where I want it to be. Now, I am not usually a fan of using like a black paint first or a white paint first. I want somewhere to go if I need to make it darker or lighter. So I am going to letter this on first so I know where that's going to go. Just the main part. Spread is going to be different, but Sunshine is going to be right here. Not in the middle, but close, right? Hold on, I want to get that in the camera for you. There we go. So when I letter, this is a bounce lettering style, and I do have a lettering group that we meet every Wednesday, and it's a great group. And yesterday when we met, I was going through fits with the website and the hello, your front porch. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being here. So I am going to just take, this is a long liner brush, and it's a script liner. It's a number 1. I use Jasonia brushes, and the perfect lettering brush is the one that's working for you that day. But I thought of, I'm a big analogy person. I like to put meaning with my thoughts through analogies and stuff. And so what I was thinking today is about brushes. Now, I know that they're expensive brushes, and some people say it doesn't matter, but it does. So here is my analogy that goes with that. You need a pair of shoes. And so you go and wahoo, you go over to the Walmart and you pick up a pair of shoes and say they're $8, and they look great, they're brand new, they protect your feet, they do all of those things, but maybe they don't last as long. Or maybe you've got some foot problems that the shoes look good, but they don't feel good, or they don't support your foot in the way that it should. And so those $8 shoes are causing you way more than $8 in grief, right? We've all been there, right? Especially when I was wearing heels and stuff. You know, I wore these shoes that weren't good for my feet, but they looked good. And so, but there's a reason that there are shoes made that have science behind them. I go to a podiatrist because I had plantar fasciitis, and he says you need to wear either the inserts that I've made you or New Balance shoes. Now that might not be correct for everybody, you know, and New Balance does make some dressier shoes, which I'm very grateful for, but it just means that not everybody is the same, but those better shoes might last me longer. They're going to make me walk farther. They're going to make me feel better. My back won't hurt. My feet won't hurt. And that's kind of how brushes are too. They might look the same, but they certainly don't act the same. And that is my, little analogy on that. You can get by with a cheaper brush, but once you commit to being, living a creative life and doing some painting, you're going to be happy that you spent a little bit more on some good brushes. So there's my outline of my word sunshine, and there you go. So that's my idea with brushes, though. I don't profess that the brushes I use are the best brushes, but they are the best brushes for me because I've taken the time to get to know them. And so there you have it. I'm going to dry this real quick. Hi, Glenda. Hello, Bonnie. And for the most part, well, I kind of thought so. They look the same though, and how about this one too? I taught elementary school for many years. I was a second, third, and fourth grade teacher, and then I was an instructional coach and taught teachers about new practices and bettering their practice and so forth. This is dry, so I'm going to take a high polymer eraser that has no, nothing that's going to be abrasive. And I'm just going to erase my pencil lines. But in my classroom, I would say on the supply list, nothing but Ticonderoga pencils. And the reason is that they really were graphite, they really were wood, and most importantly, maybe, their erasers worked. Because some of those cheaper pencils, if you're a child and you're trying to learn, or if you're an adult and you're trying to learn, you don't want something that just smears. You want something that's going to be working, right? Oh, thank you, Donna. And so you want to have something that works for you, that doesn't work against you and cause you to have, more heartache than you deserve, Okay, so we've got that. That's the bones of the lettering, and we are going to be putting on the fun stuff, the pretty stuff. But this type of lettering is called bounce because we've got some alteration. It's not just a straight line. But I'm going to put it could be sunshine on a cloudy day, but I really want just either, I'm not sure. Make your own sunshine, be the sunshine, create sunshine. I think I want create. I like the word create. So what we're going to do is I keep bouncing around with that. This is one of my favorite tools when I'm lettering. And again, I do have a lettering group, and you're welcome anytime. It's a great group of people that gets together every single Wednesday, and we have a good time. And we practice lettering. We practice lettering and doodling and, you know, creating themes in our work. So I'm going to put a line there where I want this to be, but I also want this to look a lot more blocky. So I'm going to make this a 1-inch grid, well, a 1-inch space to letter in. And so that if you can look real careful, you'll see that I've got some really light pencil lines there. And this I want to make a little bit more blocky. I want it to contrast. So I'm just going to take that same brush I was using, and I apologize for this being upside down, but I'm just going to go. And, you know, lettering, I taught calligraphy way back when, and it was much different than lettering is today. Today, lettering is more artistic, and you get to make some choices about how you want things to look. It doesn't have to match the graphic that you have for the font that you're writing, because that font is your own. And I do, Brenda. I didn't drop it in the comments, but I will. If you want to go to my Cottage Caboodle site, up at the top, right below like all the tabs, there is a tab that says Linktree, and that's all my links. And if you go down to my Amazon page, it's listed in a couple of different places on my Amazon store, and they give me a small thank you, but mostly I have that storefront so you can see with your eyes the products that I use. And so there's that just basic framework put on there. And I'm going to dry this so I can take those lines away, and then we can do some stuff on the background and do some fun things. But those are quilting rulers. Back in the day, I don't know that they're still called see-through rulers, but it's really nice because it's got that grid on it, so you can line up vertical lines and then make sure your horizontal lines are straight. It really makes a huge difference. The high polymer erasers are listed on there like these. There's some that are for the pencil caps. And so now I've gotten rid of all of my lines, right? And so I know that this can be stressful for some people, but you can start with a stencil if you want and just kind of enhance that. You don't have to worry about doing your very own lettering, and you know, I know that that can be scary. So before I do the background though, I do want to get on some of the thickening strokes. I gotta watch my time. I still have a half hour, so we're good. We're good. So anytime if you're writing this with a pen, anytime you pull down is when you're going to thicken it. With a paintbrush, you've got to pull down sometimes when you would push up with a pen. So you've got to kind of keep that straight in your head, and that's kind of, you know, the biggest bugaboo in the whole thing. And I'm just going to thicken up those downstrokes. And this color, I didn't say what color it was. This is zinc. It's a real pretty deep gray. A real pretty. My Amazon store link isn't working. Well, technology is still fighting against me, isn't it? I will take care of that when we get off of here. I'm sorry. It was working yesterday. I don't know what's going on. You guys, technology has been just fighting me this week. So it makes me thankful for the days when it doesn't, or the weeks that it doesn't, you know. So there we go. I've got that. So everywhere that this lettering goes, where I would be pulling down with my pencil or pen, that's where I want it to, and this is making me crazy, so I want to put a little bit of a loop, because that just didn't work for me. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go down. So this one is going to be a little bit thicker. There we go. And then I smush this one. Got my finger in the way, so we're going to take just a clean brush, get rid of that where I smudged it. There we go. Now, normally, sometimes you alter the order in which you do things online, you know, to demo. And so usually I would have the background done before I started the lettering, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave the lettering for last, because a lot of times people enjoy seeing the lettering most of all. So there are no products in this collection. I will take a look at it, Chris. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. There's hundreds of products in there. So, okay. And then I'm going to take, I'm thinking my pen would go up, and then I'm going to take it around and pull down. Notice that I'm putting pressure on that brush and not staying up on the tip. That's how you get a nice even line, as you put pressure on it. You want to always, it will stay put better if you have a little bit of pressure there. Okay, so then we go up, and then the next downstroke is going to be this big backbone of that H. And then we're going to come over here, and we go up, and then our pen would go down here. And same thing here. And then we've got, I'm going to just go over this one a little bit because it's a little bit uneven. And then I'm going to do the downstroke and thicken it up over here. And then I've got this, we're almost done. And then over here. So that would go up, and then I would come around over here. Press, 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 press. And then lift up. Here we go. So not perfect, but it'll work. It'll work. Yes, I did. I did, Brenda. I just am using a lot more pressure. I would not recommend the script liner necessarily for just starting out with these downstrokes and things, because it's a little bit harder to control than a shorter liner. A mid-length liner would be what I would probably start out with, just because it's a little more compliant. the longer fiber tends to want to splay a little bit. So now we've got some work to do on that background, and I want this to look springy and pretty and not at all snow, winter, and cold. I used, it is a see-through ruler. This one is made by Westcott, and it's just got grid, so that you can line up the edges of your piece and get nice straight lines. The brush that I'm using is a Jassonia brush. I use all Jassonia brushes, and they have a website. Let me get that so it will, come on. Oh, it's backwards. I'm so sorry. Jassonia, and I used DecoArt Americana paints. They're nice and creamy. I'm used to them. And Jassonia has always got things online for sales and so forth, and they're quick to ship. Do I use riggers? Riggers are a lettering brush. Once in a while I do use a rigger. Riggers anymore are hard to find a regular real rigger, and I find that I am used to just a regular liner, and I don't tend to buy a lot of specialty brushes unless they really do something special that I can't get somewhere else. And so yeah, I will use a rigger. I've got riggers, and I've taught with riggers, but you know, it just depends. Here's a lettering brush, and a rigger has a blunt end instead of a pointed end. So you can see that that's chopped off. Okay. I do not, but it's just josonja.com, Josonja, and they don't do affiliates or anything. I just love their brushes, and I've used them for years and years. I've got a water issue over here where I kind of I put some, I cleaned up an edge, and there was water in my brush, and now it's pooling up. And so as we've been talking, I tried to dry it. I'm going to get a larger brush and just set it in there and help it wick up. Then I'll let it dry, and then I'm going to fix that back up again. So, alrighty. Oh, you found it, Chris. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's where you can find the ruler. There's where you can find the ruler. Okay, so we've got that all on there. We need to have a little bit of color. And there's some colors that I tend to gravitate toward. I probably shouldn't, because I should branch out a little bit, but I can't help it. This color is Thicket, and I just think it's so, so pretty. So I'm going to grab a little bit of Thicket, and I want a wider brush. I'm going to use a 3/4 inch flat, which is a brush I use a lot. A good liner or two, a 3/4 inch flat, a 1/2 inch flat, and number 8 filbert are probably the brushes I use the most. And all I did was put a little bit of paint on one side. It's just water on the other. And I'm going to go into my lettering now and just add a little bit of shadow here and there. It's still got too much water. Now, I'm a soft painter, and I tend to paint in layers. And so I'm not what I call a one and done painter. I will get something on there, and then I'll go back and I'll refine it a little bit, maybe add a little to it. But I'm shading underneath some of these loops, or these places where I want there to be some shadow. And what this will do is put my lettering on the board and not have it just sitting on top. It will kind of meld the two together with this main part of the lettering. Okay. I've got another little bit up here. And it doesn't take very long, but it sure gives it a lot of effect. So now I'm going to flip that brush around and just put a little more here and there. I just want it real soft and subtle. And here's my take on lettering and why we should pay attention to it. Even if we are using a stencil, it is important to add a little bit of something to it. So we take all this time painting, and then we use a Sharpie or a marker or something, and we put our lettering on, and it sometimes does not translate well. We didn't put the same amount of effort into the lettering as we did the rest of the piece. So what that does is kind of create this, it doesn't match, right? The effort doesn't match. So I think a little bit of that shading goes a long, long way. Oh, 10 degrees in Texas. Holy cow, Pam. Good morning, Patty. You're not late. You're not late. Good morning, Lenora. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take that same color, Thicket, and I'm going to just start adding a little bit of color. And it's still really washy because this color that I'm using is dark. Okay, so it is a darker color. I'm not very well oriented right now. There we go. So you can see how dark it is, but I'm just using a little bit of it. And I'm just going to go across and put in some color. I can always add this a little bit later too. it'll leave a little bit on there, but we're going to put some floral on there. Florals are, you know, they got to go with the sunshine theme here. And so I'm just going to get a little more water, a little more color, and maybe have used half of a drop so far. And I want to be real careful when I go over my lettering, just because I don't want to hide it. But I want some of that background messed up. I don't want it all perfect. I like to paint in all different styles. Fancy art people call that being a Renaissance painter, because you try different things. I just paint what I like. I don't need fancy words, but I just want to put a little bit of color on the background just to kind of set it together. So now you can see that it has started to kind of fall into line. No longer is that lettering sitting up on top. And I will be going over some of that lettering to spruce it up a little bit, and we'll put another color on it. How are we doing? We're good. I've got 15 minutes. So now I get to do the fun part too. Well, it's all fun to me. Can you tell? Can you tell? So I'm going to grab, let's see if I can find it. A filbert has a rounded tip to it, and that is what I'm kind of looking for my leaves. And of course, you know, when you're looking for something, I probably should have got it out ahead of time. I'm not seeing the one I want. So we'll grab the one I don't necessarily want, but we can work with it. Oh, that's not it either. Well, this happens a lot on lives, you guys, where you find that you don't think you have what you need. And I've only, if you saw, I only have about a gazillion brushes, and these are the good brushes. Okay, well, I'm gonna improvise, and that works too. That works too. That's not it. Okay, what we're going to do is put a little bit of background in here just to kind of create a shadow. And the other part will go a lot faster. But I know I want some floral down here because of how this is all laid out. So what I want to do here is put in some leaves, just the shadows, just to kind of anchor the floral. And you can barely see them. And I don't even know at this point if they're all going to show, but I want something in the background. And this rounded tip brush is helping me to do that. We'll just put a few little, you're going, oh, this is a train wreck waiting to happen. I can see this one coming down the tracks. We're going to put some in the middle because we will be putting flowers, but those flowers are going to show the background, all right? And so normally I don't want it real matchy-matchy, but I do want it to look a little bit balanced. I'm going to be adding more in there. I see some areas that on the edges I want a little more coverage, so I'm taking that washi brush and just kind of going over those edges. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry. Washi means that you have very little paint and a lot of water, and that's all that means. So far we've used zinc and we've used Thicket. I've got some blush pink out. I'm also going to get out a little bit of razzleberry. I also want a little bit of Mississippi Mud, which is a real pretty kind of mushroom taupey brown. And then I want some burnt umber. Put that over here. My burnt umber has a clump in it because it's not wanting to squeeze. So now I want to plunk in some floral. And I'm going to get some water out here on my palette. I'm going to get some of that raspberry. I'm going to work from the back forward, just like I've got those shadowy leaves in there. I'm going to make like a wash with that raspberry, but to me, it doesn't go with the colors that I've got here. So I'm going to put in a little bit of Mississippi mud and see how that tones it and makes it just a little more muted. It's not quite as bright. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't want it to be, you know, jump out and grab you. I want it to be subtle, subtle, subtle. So now I'm going to go in, and I like to work in threes. So I'm going to just put in some blossoms, and I'm not being super careful. I'm certainly not overthinking it. I just want to put in some of those shapes, and I like to go over the edge. I like them to be misshapen. They can have some of the background showing. And it's almost one of those things where if you set your timer, like 3 minutes, say, if you set your timer, it's almost going to turn out better if you don't go over it too much. So I do want something down here. And so I'm going to make this so that it's overlapped, and I'm going to put in just where we can put a little blossom here and maybe one over here. It still needs one up here. Okay, so I've got that pink in there. I've just laid in the pink, and it's just a real pretty, like, muted pink. I'm going to dry that. Then I'm going to go back to my palette, and I'm going to pick up just a little more of that raspberry and brighten this up just a skosh. And then I'm going to take this same brush. I don't want it too juicy. And I'm going to start just adding in some movement. I just want to get some darks in there. Now, this is a big brush. People would probably say, oh my goodness, I have to have a little brush. But it wouldn't be the same effect, you know? It wouldn't be the same effect. So we're just putting a little bit of color. And we want some of that first color to show. Hey, Vanessa. I know, Donna, a lot of people are so, oh my goodness, so done with it. Thank you, you guys. I'm sorry I can't keep up on the comments and paint. So I'm letting the water do its job too, and letting it move and put this paint into places that maybe I hadn't planned, but that's okay. So all in all, I may have used 3 drops of paint. Maybe. We're getting this dry. How are we doing on time? Okay, so now I'm going to get a little more paint in my brush than water. And I'm going to go into that soft, pretty pink, that blush pink color. I still have water in my brush, but it's not a washy puddle like we started with. So I'm still using that big brush, and I'm just going to start to put in a little bit of pink. And I just want to have kind of a, it's going to look a little bit spotty. I'll go over some of the colors. I'm not paying attention to going in between or where, you know, where I haven't gone yet. It's just adding a little bit, and that because we're going to get to a point here where we're going to put in the pretties, and it will start to bring it all together. Hello, Karina. Hi, Wanda. I use a lot of water. Yes, a lot of water. Hello, House of Crafts. I'm just painting on a 10 by 10 piece of wood. It's sealed though because I used chalk paint as the background, and I used the Deco Art chalk paint in the color Vintage. So it's kind of a green, gray, blue color. And now I get to put the brighter in. And this is not going to be something that has a lot of definition. I didn't want that for this. I'll put some detail on it. It looks like I will probably, I don't know that I might come close though. I might come close. You just never know. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go onto my palette, and I've got my littler filbert. I wish it was the bigger one, but I don't want to take time to hunt for it. I should have got it out before I went live. But I'm going to take this little filbert, and I'm going to put some of that full strength blush pink on there. And I see that I could use some of that to just kind of define some of these petaled areas. And then I also want to do that in the centers and just give it a little bit stronger look. And have some of those petals catch the light. Okay, can you still hear me? Goodness sakes. Okay, so I'm going back and forth. Thank you, Denise. Oh dear, Sheila. Well, it will be on replay. It will be on replay. And if you're, don't worry about previous videos with me. We've got a system in place. Some of them will be, you know, gone, but especially if you've paid for classes, they won't be. And, you know, it is, I guess it's a good lesson for us all to, you know, make use of what we've got when we've got it. I've picked up a little bit of white, and I'm just putting in a little bit more definition and just trying to, it takes contrast to make things have shape and contour and depth. And so if I use another color and go lighter, remember I said I was going to go from the back forward, and that's what I'm doing. And if you saw some of my painting, you would say, that's not her painting. But I got surprises, you guys. I got surprises. And I am going to have a 5-day spring fling event where I teach I teach for 5 days, and we complete 2 projects, and it's $15. It's a bargain. So you can, we're doing a project that's a lot like this. So if you like I'll show you the pieces before we leave. I've got 4 minutes. So I'm just taking up a little tiny bit of these lights. And I'll mess with this too as I watch it dry. And what happens with acrylic paint is it deepens as it dries. So that means it's going to blend in more. But you can see where this is going with all of those lighter areas of petals and things. And I will add a few more lights. We're almost done for what I want for this. And then I'm going to go in with this smaller brush and a little less water than I was using before. And with that filbert, I'm going to put some darker leaves in. I might put a stem, but I want this to be real loose and kind of freeform. I might even add some soft lines with my liner brush to kind of make some definition. I could use another color I like with this combination is laurel, so I might add some laurel in with it. And this will be on my, I always post pictures when I'm after I finish something, but we're pretty close to having that done. And there we go. And one of the things though that I want to show you before I show you the other pieces that we're going to do in the class is if I go back to that 3/4 flat into that razzleberry, and I've got that bright color in here, I can take a little bit of that and just float it into certain places. And that will start to bring that all to life. So if you've seen maybe a lot of the farm animals have these clusters of flowers and things, that's my take on it. And I might put in some other little flowers to fill it up, but that's what you've got so far. And if I'll be having it on my page, but this is one of the pieces that we'll be doing in the Spring Fling event. And then we've got an Easter project too. So it's got this little guy. And so again, you provide your own, these are 12-inch rounds. You get the pattern and the tracing and all the things, and it's $15 for both projects. So it does make the roses pop. You're right, Karina. You're right. It does. It certainly does. So I so appreciate you being here, and I hope that it warmed you up a little bit to have some pretty colors to look at and stuff. And after me, you guys, after me is Beth from Rekindle's Blessings. So don't go far, go out, refresh. If you're not following Craft Round the Clock, you need to be, so make sure you're following them. And I would love to have you follow on my page. Remember that everyone who shared this out today is going to go into a drawing, and I'll be drawing for Happy Mail. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that you get to do something creative, and I hope that the sun shines, even if it's from you, from the inside out. So have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. This is Lizbeth Stahl, Cottage Caboodle. See you soon.